Welcome to Dance Fit Biz Builders. I'm Orit, dancer, instructor, and proud owner of a thriving belly dance fitness business. And in this podcast, I'm giving it to you straight, sharing what it takes to kickstart and grow your dance and fitness business for the success you deserve. Whether you're a seasoned instructor, a passionate performer, or dreaming of turning your love for dance and fitness into a thriving career, you're in the right place. Lace up those sneakers and pull on those dance shoes and get ready for truth smacks, tips, and inspiration. Let's do this. Hello and welcome to Dance Fit Biz Builders. I'm Orit, your host, and this is episode 76. Thank you so much for shimming on over into my space and giving me your time and your willingness to get educated, learn something new, some hot tips. So thank you. I don't take that lightly. This episode, I'm really excited. I know I always say that, but I am really excited about this because there's something that I totally get lit up about every time. It's that moment when a student takes what you've taught them and then they run with it, right? And even bigger than you. That's my hope for everybody, yeah? And they make it their own, they get creative, and they make it even bigger than you imagined. I love that. Today's guest is Carol Tandava Henning. She gave me one of those moments. She was a student of mine and then got Sharkey certified back in 2009. I got the date right this time. And she's seen all the Sharkey iterations and all the growth the past 16 years. Wow, 16 years. And she's taken her business to the next level. She's built something so smart, so creative, and with a community that adores her. I know this convo is going to spark all kinds of ideas for everybody so that you can level up your offers. So if you've been curious about how others are doing it, or if you need inspiration, or just need a little kick in the ass to get started, this episode is for you. Carol, hello. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi. Great to be here. It's so awesome.
I love Carol. I love Carol. By the way, you are so smart. You're so tall. I'm so impressed with that. You're fantastically tall. You're so talented. You're an actress. You're a singer. Like you do everything. You're a dancer. And she's just so beautiful. She's like the epitome of what you think of a belly dancer would look like.
Aww.
So, Carol, tell us about yourself. What drew you first into Sharkey and maybe even into dance and dance fitness?
Well, I started as a childhood dancer. Thinking about this interview, I was like, where, did I dream of being an actor when I was a kid? No, I'd always dreamed of being a dancer. From the very beginning, I was like in the library at like 3 and 4 years old, looking at all the ballet pictures and the positions. Like I learned all the positions before I even set my foot into a dance studio. So at 5 and 6 years old, I was doing tap and ballet. I was supposed to do gymnastics, but I had a crooked spine. So it's funny that I got to be as tall because I had this deformity that people thought that it was really going to limit a lot of my ability to move. But I more than made up for it with the tap and ballet. And I did that just passionately for many years until I got into about those preteen years. And then I started porking out. And, my body changed. I also, I do have clinical depression, and dancing is one of the few things that relieves my depression. I live when I dance, and that's always been the case. And like, I would go to sleep dreaming of choreographies. It was a compulsion. It wasn't something that was even in my control. I just couldn't help it. But then this fat shaming thing happened because this was the 70s. It was the age of, the Mikhail Baryshnikov and the very skinny anorexic dancer. And even though I wasn't like told right out, oh, you can't be a dancer, I was discouraged and I was bullied a lot. And between those two things, I just quit, so then I did other things. Then I started singing. I joined various choruses. I was in the citywide chorus. Then I got into acting and I did Shakespeare when I was about 16, 17. And then I interned at WNYC, and then I wanted to be in radio. Then I fell in love with a stand-up comic and was kind of like devotedly, and this was, I guess I was maybe 17 or 18 when that happened. And I was devotedly following him around to the comedy clubs. And then I was like, wait a minute, I don't want to date him. I want to do what he's doing. So then I got myself on stage, and, this was now the late 80s. So, Sarah Silverman was one of my classmates in college. She and I did a comedy contest together, and she did great. Like she did, she was always very funny. Like she always kind of knew who she was on stage, and I did not. I didn't know this until she told me years later that I ran into her at the comic strip many years later. And I was like, she's like, how are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm okay. And I was kind of depressed, and I was doing theater at that time, not doing so well. I'm not someone who can hold a grudge. Like if I have a grudge, I'll usually just like, I have this terrible grudge against you. And that's what I did. I was like, I have to say, it's been so hard. I'm really impressed by all that you've done, but it's been so hard for me to like watch you get successful. And she said, and this speaks to the kind of person she is. She's just a great, great-hearted woman. And she said, oh, but Carol, you graduated from college and I didn't. I was like, out of all the things she could have said, she said the one thing that like rescued my ego. And I was like, oh, you're so nice. So I did stand-up comedy, and then I realized that I like making people laugh, but I don't like stand-up. I prefer storytelling, because in storytelling, the joke serves the story. In stand-up, the story serves the joke. And also with stand-up, the drive is you got to get the laugh like every 10, 15, 20 seconds. And that just bothers me. I don't like clawing for laughs. So yeah, stand-up, theater. Then I had this terrible injury. I had an abdominal injury and I ended up at the hospital, and it totally messed me up. And that's when I was recovering, and I showed up in your class in 2004. Mm-hmm. So really, I've been watching Sharkey Iterations for 21 years, young lady. 21 years of Sharkey. Wow. And I had taken a 4-week course a couple of years before that, like right after the injury, but after the surgery, but before I herniated 3 discs in my lower back. And that person's style, I mean, she was a lovely dancer, but she didn't get me excited about belly dancing. You got me excited about belly dancing. And so, that's what I try to bring to my students is like, what are the things that got me excited? And, for you, it was when you talked about how like everyone got together in a circle when you were growing up and would dance and celebrate their bodies, and, and just like your energy. And also, I think I was ready for it. See, that's another thing. Sometimes it's the teacher, and sometimes it's just you're ready, you're not ready. And there was like a 3-year gap between that first lesson and then showing up in your class. And also you made it easier, and you made it feel more like dancing instead of like breaking down moves. So that brings us to 2004. And so I was just completely devoted to belly dancing straight up until 2011. I wrote my solo show about, that injury and all that happening. And then I did that for a bunch of years. So, and because I needed to have a voice on stage, because I'm singing and dancing at the same time, I started taking voice lessons and singing again, and took acting lessons again. So it's like all these things that I'd kind of let go for many years, that belly dancing brought it all back. Then the last big run of the show that I did was in 2015, and it went so well. It was just 2 weeks, but it was like the dead of winter. And I had this deal where if you came to the show, if you hung on to your program, you could come another day, bring a friend, and you would get in for free.
Nice. Good deal.
Yeah. And because I had different guest dancers, so my part of the show was always the same, but I always had different guest performers, who would join me. Yes, it's a solo show, but I have other people in it because that's I'm a rebel that way. And so people would show up just to see the other dancers. And like some big time teachers here in the city came and they were like, oh, well, we'll go support Carol's little show tonight because, probably no one is going to come. And the place was so packed.
Amazing. Look at you.
And then after that, people kept saying, do you teach? Do you teach? And I was like, well, I guess I better start teaching. So I had this whole big mailing list of people who would come to the show. So that's when I started Tandava Arts Belly Dance as a dance school. So now that brings us to March of 2015. And I started as one class a week, just Sharkey. And then I expanded it to 2 classes, a technique class and then Sharkey. And now I'm teaching 12 classes a week. And I have a wonderful student troupe. We're getting invited to things inside and outside the dance community. We do all kinds of events, charities, supporting community, supporting events. And they're just amazing. And I have a connection with a designer in Egypt who, sells me the costumes wholesale. So I have like the best dressed troupe. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Awesome. So Carol, first of all, a few things I want to say. Thank you for being so transparent about your depression. So I appreciate that. You were a business person. You didn't even know it. You did a little upsell with the whole save the program, bring a friend and you get in free.
Yep.
You're a businesswoman. Hello.
Yep.
And what's also interesting is that you went into this so seamlessly, because now I'm going to go into my next question. And because it seems like you didn't have a hard time to say, I'm doing this, I'm building my business. It seemed like your customers, your fans told you what they needed. Is that true?
Yeah. Yes, that's exactly right. Because the demand, because I would do a talk back after every show and everyone was always asking, do you teach? Do you teach? Do you teach? And I was like, oof, the answer to that question should be, yes, ma'am, I do. I did not foresee this business opportunity. Yeah.
But you did it anyway because you have drive. But you did it.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So a lot of this is mindset. You're an entrepreneur, you're a creative. I think we're naturally easy entrepreneurs. It's easy for us, I think. Yeah. Would you agree?
Well, nothing is easy. Everything is hard. But I would say that when I hear the siren call of this is what you got to do, I will do it. And that I want to do.
Right.
See, that's another thing is what needs to be done and what do I want to do?
Right.
And, it's not like joy and bubble baths, It's hard work. I mean, I'm like blood is coming out of my eyes, from staring at the screen for 5 hours, but I feel so engaged, a spiritual teacher I used to work with used to say, when you feel tapped in, tuned in, and turned on, that's when you're in this state of flow. Yeah. And the time just sort of melts. Yeah. And you might be in a state of discomfort. You hear this from marathon runners too. We're just and they're in agony, but they're just swimming in endorphins and just feeling this this pushing you forward, something inside of you that's pushing you forward, that's being satisfied. So it's more like that.
I love
that. Makes sense.
It does make sense. I love that you're really helping our listeners, especially those who are on the fence, just getting started. But question, I know that you have drive, and I know that your fans have been asking for you to start teaching classes and create the school that you have now. But was there ever anything that held you back? Were you I'm not sure? Did you feel like an imposter? What, anything? Or were you I'm doing it?
Oh, I feel like an imposter all the time.
Oh, okay.
I feel like an imposter all the time, and I felt the same way when I was acting because I didn't have the credentials. See, that's a thing is when you don't have, I didn't have the degree in acting. I didn't have the degree in dance. I didn't have, I have a degree in English. I know that there are things that I auditioned for when I was in acting. And they wouldn't even look at me. They would not even look at you if you didn't have a degree in acting from somewhere. But I think part of that was also me getting in my own way, because if I had felt more strongly, this is what I want to do, I think I could have not let that be an issue. I think I let it be an issue because I knew deep down it wasn't really what I wanted to do. Just like with stand-up comedy. Like I was really feeling this is not what I want, but I did not have some other thing that pulled me. It wasn't until I started studying with you that I was really pulled to do this.
Yeah.
And I'd taken other forms of dance too. Like I did Broadway dance and tap dance and ballet, and it wasn't until belly dance where I was like, yeah, this is it. Like, this is what makes my body feel alive, at home in my body, at home in these moves, expressing what I have to express the way that feels natural and right for my body.
That, I'm sure that's going to help a lot of listeners really now think inward and really just really think about, are they loving it? Are they not? And for what are the reasons they're doing it? Are they doing it? But now, I know this happens to me. I love what I do, but when things are progressing slowly, I kind of get down in the dumps. How do you stay motivated when things are slow?
I'm very lucky that I have a wonderful group of students. They are so good and they are so devoted to this dance and their love of it that on those days, I'll do it for them. I instantly turn on once I'm in the studio and ready to teach. Even if one student shows up, that student is going to have the best time of their lives. In the early days, there were classes where no one showed up.
Yeah, sure.
And that was hard. But then there was the next class.
Yeah.
And then I would have people in the next class. And so bit by bit, I was able to kind of build just by doing it again and again and again, just doing it. It almost, I used to joke about, why I got into stand-up comedy. I say, the first time on stage, I did fantastic. Like I had the audience in stitches. The next 40 or 50 times were not so good. But it was that first time. It really is like a drug. Like when you're on stage and people are laughing, you're just like, oh, you're like, give me more of this. She says, hitting her arm like a heroin vein. Give me more. Ah, and it's like that, the good feelings of teaching a good class. And also, your format. I was talking with Caitlin Hines about this early, and she was like, wow, Ori really sets you up to succeed. We were talking about your website. She's like, yeah, she gives you this, she gives you that. It's like you cannot fail if you just follow this recipe, you follow these instructions, and just keep doing it. And it will build, because this formula you've created, it has a momentum of its own. It's a tried and true technology, as we like to say. It's a technology. It's a repeatable technology, as we say in the computer biz. And I came back just knowing that I had this thing to do in my pocket and that people would come back for it, And so that carried me through on those days when no one would show up. But then the next day, 4 people would show up. And then the next week, 10 people would show up, until now I have this group of wonderful, wonderful students, dancers, and they're so diverse. Like I've got a doctor, I've got an accountant, I've got someone who gets unhoused people housing, people doing incredible work, and they're like, yeah, I come here and this gives me juice that I can do my job in the real world. Yeah.
Impact you're making on these lives, right? And
I do my best.
And I love how you're saying that if you just keep showing up, it's going to happen. Stay
exactly.
consistent. But now looking back right now that you've been showing up, that works, right?
Yeah.
What has been working really well growing your business so far, besides showing up?
Well, the mailings are really important. And I've been really bad about that lately. But before the pandemic, I was mailing people every week or twice a week, and I had very good numbers. And after the pandemic, and I had a very serious depression episode just before the pandemic, actually, that really, really it set me back a lot for a couple of years. And so it was just this slow crawl back, because people need to be reminded why they love your class, because everyone's lives are so busy, you know, that you forget. I mean, there's things in my life where I'm like, I'll do something, oh, that was wonderful. And then I get on to other things, and then I'll like see an email from that person or that, you know, entity, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that was fantastic. I got to go back and do that. You know, so it's like, I need to just be better about nudging people's inboxes a little more and reminding them what they loved and giving them more things to do at home. I have some ideas of stuff I want to do for like, some social media videos. So now it's just a matter of figuring out, you know, what each of those little videos is going to be and then doing it. But I have an idea for that, but just more things that people can kind of dip their toe into when they're at home and remind them, oh, right, this is why I like this. And this is why I want to go back and do this.
Excellent. Like, I love that you said emailing people. So that's nurturing. And you said that you kind of dropped back a little bit, but you're going to go back into it. Awesome. But I'm glad to hear that nurturing your email list has worked for you, because I preach that all the time. You got to nurture peeps. Yep. Yeah. But let's talk about the flip side. What do you wish you would have done differently? Any mistakes?
It took me a while to figure out, this is going to sound silly, but the warm up. And actually, I worked with Sharon Zaslaw on this, you know, who was another wonderful Sharkey instructor for many years, who now is acting, star of stage and screen, doing wonderfully. But yeah, so, I mean, I have fitness certification in NASM, used to be AFA, now it's NASM. And how to best warm up the body in a way that's going to be fun, but challenging, and always the same. Never change my warm-up. The warm-up is always the same every single time. So, you know, when people are doing it with me, they, you know, when they've been with me for a while, they know exactly what's coming next. So yeah, so I came up with this thing that had this combination of like dance moves, like basic dance moves, pliés and even a second position and stuff like that, to like some more athletic. I do these side crunches where people have to stand on one leg. So that's challenging. Making people stand on one leg. And then I go through every single key belly dance move. That's the warm up. And then no matter what I'm doing, whether it's a Sharkey class or the technique class, we always start the same way. And then I'll go into whatever, you know, the routine is. And I always teach my choreography in a Sharkey way. Like, they don't know when the choreography is going to begin. You know, I don't, because like what a lot of teachers do is they'll be like, okay, we're done warming up. All right, now here, you're going to, you know, do this step, do that step, do this step, do that step. Whereas I just keep going, and I use the Sharkey music. So I just keep going, and I'll be like, so I just did the last part, which is the drop. So like, let's say the first thing in the choreography is a chasse. I was like, okay, you know, flat, ball, flat, and step together, step together, step. And now we're at a hip and a snake arm here. Bring your foot and do a hip drop and a hip drop and a hip drop. Back to the chasse, 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 hip drop, hip drop. And I use a pattern, like I never say it like I'm talking. It's always with kind of a rhythm, you know, and get ready to arabesque now, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I always have this kind of a sing-song rhythm, right, which... Maybe some people find that irritating, but I think it works. Yeah.
I teach that way for sure.
Yeah.
Carol, that's excellent. Thank you. And thank you for being so animated and acting that out. I like that. But so now that's teaching. So that's half of it when it comes to your business. Now, what did you struggle with? What didn't work for you when it came to the business side, promotion, marketing?
Oh, everything. I'm so bad at promotion. So, and part of that is my imposter syndrome.
Okay.
Like, I'm so bad at talking myself up. Like, you know, when I hired a publicist, that's when, you know, I was invited to be interviewed on other podcasts, and, you know, they did a thing on me in Huffington Post. And, you know, it's like when I had someone else to talk myself up, then people were interested, but I hate talking myself up. I hate it. And I don't know why. It's like this real aversion that I have.
But how did you grow? How are your classes so large? How did you get it there? What did you do?
I mean, a couple of things.
Yeah.
First of all, my classes are definitely larger when I'm mailing more often. So that's definitely one thing. I'm on Groupon, ClassPass, and CourseHorse. I have long running Groupons, very well rated. And I do try to remind people, hey, if you can give us a good rating on Groupon or ClassPass, we really appreciate it because it really helps people find us. And then I have another thing. I have a first class free policy where you can take your first class free, but if you do, you cannot use a Groupon. But then I offer like a similar deal. I'll be like, well, I'll do you one better. You can have 55% off your first package, but then I get all the money. And also auto pay. Auto pay is really good too. So I do have a pretty good discount if you do an auto pay every month. So then there's ClassPass. ClassPass has gone down a lot. So for anyone out there who's thinking about ClassPass, be very careful. They used to have good support. Their support now is horrific. You cannot get a live person on the phone. So for time-sensitive matters, they're not going to be any help. What ClassPass does is their members pay a membership fee. So their members will be paying, say $100 a month. And then they get a certain number of credits that they can use for various classes throughout that month.
Good tips,
Yeah.
Cal. I love that. So you really grew your classes with Groupon, ClassPass.
Yeah. And I use CourseHorse also. CourseHorse is much better. You get full price. They just take a tiny amount. They only take a couple of dollars.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. CourseHorse is wonderful. And they do a lot of advertising. So if you go to Time Out New York, best belly dance classes, because they're connected with CourseHorse, if you click on the best, all my classes come up.
Can you spell, first of all, that's awesome. Congrats on that. Can you spell CourseHorse for our listeners?
Yeah. CourseHorse. CourseHorse.
Okay, great.
Just how it sounds. Yeah. CourseHorse. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They've been wonderful, and they're very nice people, and their customer support's very good. Yeah.
Yeah, because you really, first of all, you're a techie, so you're good with all these apps, and you've really utilized these apps well.
I do my best.
Really, really amazing. Congrats on that. So listeners, CourseHorse, ClassPass, Groupon, think about it.
Yeah.
And Carol, it's amazing that you're teaching Sharkey, you're teaching traditional belly dance. Can I just talk to our listeners? What if someone is on the fence of teaching, possibly getting certified? What would you tell them? Just
do it. Just go ahead and do it. If you're on the fence, then just do it, because usually you're on the fence because it's a new thing, and there's always a reticence about a new thing, But if you're feeling it, I would say, if you're, it depends on where that fence is. If it's 80, if it's 24 and 80 against, maybe you need to take some more classes and just make sure that and then ask yourself, why might you want to do it? And, why might you not want to do it? But really it's more the question is, why do you want to do it? Don't think so much about why not. Don't look at the obstacles, why, what does this, think of, what does this do for me? Why do I like it? Do I like being in front of people? And even if you don't like being in front of people, maybe it would be good for you to try.
Yeah.
Always just try. And, especially with your thing here, I'm going to totally promote your stuff because I love you, but also because I believe in it. As I said before, it is a repeatable technology that is proven successful. You're not walking into class with what am I going to do? It's very clear what to do with your method.
Yeah.
There's no question. There's no worrying about the music. What music do I teach? I don't know. Should I do a modern song or a classic song? We got the music. We have the technique. We have the steps. Now it's just a matter of just pick the routine you want to do. And you have a very nice selection of pre-made Sharkey workout routines.
Mm-hmm.
Practice it in your living room, get it in your body, and you bring it to a bunch of students, and just do it. Just do it. And even if you choose not to continue, those skills will help you in other things.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Carol, it was such a pleasure. I am so proud of you. Really, and guys, ladies, whomever, this is her livelihood. She doesn't have, she used to have a full-time job.
I did.
She decided to make this her livelihood, and it's working. So you can do it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Carol, I would love for you to take us out with our signature outro.
All right, folks, until our next episode, go out and kick ass.
Thank you.
Oh, it was my pleasure. This was so much fun.